YouTube is crumbling. It's got all sorts of competition and it's not keeping up with all of the new features that all of these other platforms are coming out with, such as Rumble and BitChute and Odyssey.
I completely disagree. When you're the king and you're at top and you've got pretty much all the viewers, you literally people even when they're on Rumble, they're just Googling something or they're YouTubing something. It's even every video you find on these other platforms are also on YouTube. I don't think YouTube's crumbling at all. They're doing better than ever.
Well, I don't know how you can say that when YouTube is losing features left and right. Right now, you can't even tell how many thumbs down one of these videos has. So, you're trying to repair your car. You've got a handful of videos to choose from. One looks like it has 10,000 thumbs ups, and the other one looks like it has only 500, and another one looks like it only has 300. So you're like, okay, I'll go with the 10,000 one. And you're watching it, you don't realize that it's got 50,000 thumb downs, and you're trying to learn how to repair a car. You go to do the job, and you end up messing up the threads on one of the bolts from the oil pan, and you're like, ooh, that's going to be a big job to rethread that cast aluminum section there that's bolted onto the car. So, meanwhile, you go to the other ones, and not only do they have the likes and dislikes there for the world to see, but they instantly monetize you, or they give you some sort of a cryptocurrency, or they push your videos up to the top without all sorts of like shadow banning and censoring. So even if they don't give you anything, you still have a better chance at succeeding and getting your videos seen on those other platforms than YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, sure, when you're the tiny fish in the pond, you've got to try all of these little nonsense to make yourself seem more appealing than the giant up on top. That makes sense. But everything else that you just said, pretty false. You see, what's happened is YouTube is so far ahead of the competition, they've already learned from the mistake that these small companies haven't even made yet. So if we talk about the dislike button. The problem with the dislike button is even though it existed in the sense that you mentioned it, like, okay, if I hit a dislike, then people will know watching it. But when you end up with a platform with billions of people, what happens is you have these other companies now, third party companies that will accept money and they will mass dislike things. So it may be a really good video. It may be very informative, but your competitor may have paid that other company to mass dislike on it. And now you're messing up the threading on the bolts and everything because you didn't follow the video with with all those dislikes, although that may have been the right video to follow. So the dislike button, getting rid of it, actually seems to have been a positive move from YouTube for an independent creator coming up. Absolutely get rid of the dislike button. So don't just judge that. That is actually a feature enrichment for YouTube that the rest of these platforms need to fall in line with.
Nobody is going to buy that argument at all, because you're telling me that YouTube, the company that has all sorts of algorithms to filter out fake accounts and filter out fake comments and filter out fake videos and fake advertisements, that they can't have something there to filter out fake likes or dislikes. That's not the case at all. And then you're talking about that the other platforms are just for little fish. Well, if it's just for little fish, why are all the bigs going onto these other platforms?
Because we kicked them off YouTube, one. And
Not at
second,
all.
that's exactly what I'm telling you. Because if you've seen the generation we're in now, where people are trying to raid people that dislike, it's an army of real people that they send to dislike the comments. So the AI will not pick up that it's a bot account because it's actually a real user. Those are real user accounts. But they're just being forced to do something for a check or for clout. So yes, removing the dislike button definitely helps. And you'll see most companies will do it too. If you like it, you like it. If you dislike, you block and move along. That's the best thing. But at the end of the day, or you report it for misinformation, and if it is misinformation, then you get rid of it.
No, that's not how it works on YouTube. If it is misinformation, it stays. And if it's real information, it's got to go. And all the bigs are not kicked off of YouTube. Some of them have remained on YouTube and the other platforms, and some of them have just moved over, like Joe Rogan. So you can't say that they're being kicked off. It's not that YouTube is so amazing that everybody wants to be on there and they're just forced to use the other platforms. No, they're going to the other ones by choice because they're better. Look, YouTube is terrible now. All the things that made YouTube fun were viewer centric. So as a viewer, you get to go watch your video, you get to interact, like or dislike, you get to subscribe or unsubscribe, you get to set notifications or no notifications, you get to put comments or not put a comment or reply to somebody else's comment. But now you go to YouTube, dislikes are not allowed, comments are turned off, or your comment is shadow banned, or your comment is reported to the fact checkers of YouTube as if they're anybody other than some fat guy in a basement of his parents' house somewhere. The whole thing is a disaster. It's just everybody's got their heads up their butts for that platform, and they're selling out to anybody who would pay them, like the Biden administration or the CDC or Pfizer or anybody who throws them a dollar just to get them to censor something or promote something else. I mean, even the Biden videos, you have to admit that there's no way that they have that many likes, right? Up until just recently, all Biden videos had tons of dislikes, hardly any likes. Then they disabled the dislike button, and then they upped the likes automatically. Come on. The whole thing is a joke with YouTube. The other platforms are where it's at.
Listen, the Biden video has all the likes because he's the most popular president ever.
Just remember, no matter how you feel, if you're watching this on YouTube, you're better off watching this on Rumble.